Hello, it's Lindsay from the Vintage Button, and it's Junk Journal July, and it's day 7, which is window. So let's have a quick look through where we've got to. And it's kind of like each page is really different. I like that, except for those first two. That was the Parliament one, this is the Nightingale one. And I kind of want to apologise for how the orientation of that is. I didn't realise the angle that the phone was on. This little setup. When I decided I wanted to try with YouTube, my husband, we just sort of used stuff we had. So he used to be a photographer, and I can use cameras, but I'm a bit frightened of the cameras. Although I think I'm going to have to. So he set me up with a tripod here. This is an old card table that I found for free somewhere that I sprayed copper. It was actually my daughter's school desk during the pandemic. It was like a quick makeover. This is a ring light that I think he did buy, and he sort of cobbled this thing together that sits in the corner of my craft room, and it's just the right size. But I think I need the bit that comes out to be longer. So I'm going to talk to him about that, because I'm sure that is probably something that he can help me with. And I need to work out how my files are backed up so that they go to the internet and then they come off the phone. And that, I think that is something that I can, it's a Google Pixel, and I think that is something that can happen so that I have more space to use, because I've just done this page and it ran out of space, and I'd moved everything to the bin beforehand so it would have enough space, but apparently that wasn't enough. I needed to empty the bin. I'm learning, I'm new. Like I said at the beginning and other times, it has to be quite easy for me to do, to fit into my life. I don't have time to do all the editing and rendering and lifting it up, and doing it on your phone is relatively quick, and not heavy on the back end kind of stuff. So, which does limit me, I am aware of that, but it's the very beginning and it has to be easy, and I have to iron out the kinks and keep it easy for a long while until I really get my momentum, I think. If you're a YouTuber and you've watched this and you've got any advice, give me the advice, because I have no idea what I'm doing. I know I've enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed it. I've been doing it a week now, doing it every day. And I've enjoyed doing the craft and sharing it. And the subscription count is growing, not by lots, but, you know, I have more subscribers than I have videos. By one, I think. But that's okay. And that's been encouraging, because, you know, I don't know how fast these things grow. I suspect it's going to take years, really, before it takes off. So I like doing it. I just have to work how to do it that fits into my life, and just iron all the kinks out. So that's a long waffly thing to say. I've nearly done all of this page. And there we go. So there's the background, and here's my window. But I will talk you through what I've done. So the window is actually the top bit of this photograph that came from like a coffee table type book about stately homes that I rescued from one of my red telephone box free libraries that are in villages dotted all around where I live. And this book was it was kind of on the edge of not being salvageable. It had a lot of water damage, a lot of pages were stuck together, and I think had it been left any longer it would have gone mouldy, and then I wouldn't have been able to touch it. So I rescued it, and I'm glad I did, because there is a lot. I managed to rescue quite a lot of it, of very useful pages and beautiful pictures of like, you know, old houses. I don't know what I'm going to do with that, but I'm going to do something with it. So that can go to the side. So it had 3 windows. I've sort of folded it. If you can see here, I sort of folded it so that it would fit on the page and have a little bit of lift and dimension. I'm going to end up with a real chunky monkey here, but I kind of made the spine extra wide. It looked a bit silly when I first started because the spine was really wide, but I knew I was going to be doing stuff like this, because I think Junk Journal July is the time to experiment with stuff like this. I kind of have done this kind of thing before, because I've made some paper fairies, and I've made an entire journal with paper fairies, and I will do a flip through of that. Probably after Junk Journal July is finished, I'll do a series of flip throughs. So the paper fairies came from a Victorian ephemera book, and it was 3 ladies stood together. The little lady was actually in the middle, and the 2 ladies were either side of her. So I just carefully fussy cut them out, and then I sort of processed some of my napkins. Now, I don't buy single-use craft items, and that's kind of completely me, just the way I see it. I do have some like Tim Holtz stuff bought for me for Christmas, and it was when I actually received this stuff and I looked at it and I saw kind of it's trying to replicate something that I have around me in abundance, either from second-hand books or from actual ephemera that I can buy, or even things that I can print and kind of have that I've made it here. And I just think, what is the point of replicating something that already exists? Just from a point of like, we only have finite resources on the planet. There's lots of thoughts about how things are produced. And I'm not perfect. And I'm very pragmatic. I will buy things off Amazon. Don't particularly like Amazon, but I'll buy things off Amazon. And I just, it's kind of like that was my line. I think that's my line. That's what it is. It's like all the rub-ons, or the amount of plastic and stuff that, that plastic's gonna be there a lot longer than the book's gonna be there. And that kind of, it just makes me think. And I started watching some other YouTubers that do mudlarking. There's a fantastic one called Kitten Caboodlers. They have 2 channels. They have a miniature channel and a mudlarking channel, and they pick up all this rubbish and litter that is beautiful, but like literally Neolithic litter, which is like flints, to Roman tesserae. Like round here was heavily Roman occupied, and London in particular. London is a Roman settlement, so and Roman pottery, and then pins and things that have been around on the planet for a long time. And I think that's a long time of us just like putting stuff here, and that's completely fine because we have to live. So I'm not going to go and live in a mud hut somewhere and eat mud. I just trying to weigh up what impact my life should be. I'm not very green, and like I'm not kind of. I don't want my fun to be damaging. I think that's probably what it is. But there you go. Anyway. So, that being said, what I did was, I've got some napkins that are single-use items, but they're not nearly as plastic heavy as the other stuff. So this is where it is very muddy, and this is why I'm not judging people. I'm not saying this is the only way to do it. I'm just saying this is what's comfortable for me. So, don't come at me. Please. Yeah, completely. I'm not, if you want to buy things from Temu, that's completely up to you. If you want to buy things from Temu, it's all completely up to you. This is just me, what I do. If you want, do similar things. And I don't see why you can't do some of these things and some of those things and all mixed together. It's just me and my thoughts and my ramblings. Anyway, didn't think I'd go down that rabbit hole when I was just trying to explain why I've nearly finished this. That was it. I'm trying to explain what I'm doing. So I took the napkins. I did 1 napkin. So it's 36 butterflies per napkin, which again, you get 20 in a pack for £1.50. That's actually quite good if you don't have a printer. That's really good. And you can do so many things with them. This time I backed them onto a piece of the paper page from that big coffee table book. And I just sort of back them on. I cut them up. Do I have some somewhere? What did I do with them? They're just here, so they're just like that. They're under all this rubbish. Move this out of the way. I had it all nice and planned. I'd really thought about it this morning, and then it all just didn't work. I did the same with strawberry napkin that I used to just completely glue using my matte gel medium on there, which kind of looks like a rub-on. But I did the same thing and made more substantial leaves by actually PVA gluing them with my PVA. So just like school glue, PVA glue. It's only in the nice jar because the bottle broke. But actually I quite like romanticising my life and making things aesthetic. So I did that. I've cut those out. I used to make the butterfly wings. I cut them in half and put a nice tilt on. Added gold, not Posca markers. Put gold foil. This is from the paint pans. My new set of paints were wrapped like sweeties, like chocolates. So I've used that on the windows. And then the backgrounds are from a 1970s flower arranging book. I think I've talked about it before. Just one of the pictures for different colours. So that's like a blue room, and then there was another one that was like kind of creamy in the background and flowers, to make like a little suggestion of a house with fairies living in it. I like whimsy. So that would go like that. I'm going to glue it down now because it's dry. I actually left the video and said goodbye with it still wet because I wanted it to dry naturally. Just because all this would get really mixed up with like a heat gun or something. I wanted it to dry naturally. So I'm going to glue that on, which is nice that I've got something to do. And that'll be the page done. I quite like it. I was going to say something and it's gone out of my head. Oh yeah, I will tell you a funny story if you want to. If you don't want to, that's alright because you've got an idea of what the page is. But this stuff reminds me of some wallpaper in like a country house not very far away from here. And we went to see some watercolour paintings that were being exhibited in his ballroom of this man. So we knew we were going to like a country house, and we thought that like you know, things would be sort of roped off so that you couldn't see the rest of the house, and that wasn't the case. And when we got there, there was only like our little party of people that actually went to go and look at these watercolours. So the guy who owns the house was a little bit eccentric and very nice. It's like, oh, come, I'll show you all the way around. So you're not going to like turn down a guided tour of a country house by the person who owns it. So we sort of wandered around this house and he was showing us everywhere. And the ballroom where the exhibition was on the first floor. So like if you're not English, you'd say the second floor, but we would say the first floor. So we sort of went up to the ballroom initially, looked at the paintings, and then he sort of like took us on this tour. And we wandered around that floor. And did we go downstairs? I think we went downstairs first, and we went to the like drawing room and then the library, and then he took us back upstairs. What was it? To like the floor where the ballroom was, and then there were bedrooms through this other door. And one of the rooms had blue silk wallpaper or blue silk wall covering, and it was like a damask, or like it was weaved, but it had different colours. It was so beautiful. I don't think I've seen anything as beautiful in my life. And it had this blue in the background, and like it was very Japanesey or chimoiserie type thing. So it sort of like had blossom trees and these like exotic birds sort of in the blossom trees, and it was just so exquisite. I was like, oh, that's beautiful. You know, so that was lovely. That was sublime, completely sublime. And then he decides to take us into other bedrooms, which is alright, you know, like we're looking at all these other bedrooms. And then he opens this door, and it's this really messy bedroom with like underpants on the floor. And he's like, and this is my room. And it was like, like how a 10-year-old wants you to see their room, or a little child wants to see you, come and see my room. It was like that. We all just sort of stood there and went, okay. And we left not long after that. I think that was when we were like, perhaps we need to leave. Yeah. So I'm going to make the inside, I'm going to make the little flowers sparkle. This is supposed to suggest ivy, which I know it's like strawberry plants, but that's what I've got. I probably do have some napkins with ivy in my napkin basket, my napkin department in my little craft shop in my room. But I didn't. I just used what was on my desk and glued them on. I want a white pen. Oh, these white markers will do. So yeah. I don't want to, like, talking about the not single use. I think I want to do things sustainably. But like I said, I don't want anybody to feel bad if they don't do things sustainably. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to be judgy. I don't want to be one of those people that people avoid because, like, oh, she's going to judge you because you, like I said, you bought your stuff off. And I don't, because I'm not perfect. Like I said, I buy things from Amazon. It's easier. We do have a little craft shop in town, and I do buy some things from there. But it's easier to just go online and buy things. I do buy some bits from Etsy and stuff. I buy my printables through Etsy, or I go on the graphics fairy, and she has loads of free stuff, like loads of free stuff that you could make your own stuff up. Yeah, so I'd kind of, if you're getting into printables, do graphics fairy freebies, and if you sign up to like her email, you get like sent stuff through every day. Like, it seems like every day. It might not be, it might be like every other day, but it just seems like every day you get like an email from her. Obviously not from her, from whatever mechanism she has that does it, but you know what I mean. You get an email. So that's it. I quite like it. I don't know if I want to add any more to it. I think that'll do. I've got my little ladies, they're peeping. She's particularly peeping, I think. She's a peeper. That one's not peeping, no, she's reading. She's not interested. And that one's having a nosy down the street, I think. There we go. So, Junk Journal July. Day 7. Windows. Oh, window. But I've done windows. I don't think it matters. I was going to do an envelope, but then I thought, I've done that a million times. I make envelopes, decorate envelopes. I'd do this. So there you go. Thank you very much for my waffle and not a tremendous amount of craft. If you found value here, press like, leave me a comment, subscribe. It's nice to see new subscribers, so hello. Yeah, that's quite exciting. Bear with me as I get my technology stuff in order. And join me as I carry on Junk Journaling July and doing other things. I've got so many ideas. And it's nice to have a place to put my ideas. So, there we go. I will see you tomorrow for Observe. I don't know what I'm going to do for that. I'll have to have a think. If you've got an idea, put it in the comments. Okay, so do all the little YouTubey things to make my little channel grow. I really appreciate you. Thank you very much. Bye bye.